Well, good evening. Tonight we have some very special people who take a lot of time and a lot of energy to take care of. Kids who I'll say are no more special, no less special than all the kids in Milford. They're just a different group of kids who I've been pulled into by one of our guests over the years, and I can tell you that if you get involved with any of the special needs kids or the special needs parents, it's amazing. I mean, I was blessed for 14 years because when I coached soccer, I thought I had the greatest team going. And maybe not skill-wise, but just their attitudes, the families, everything. And then Jen pulled me into special needs soccer, and I never met a group of kids who, if they weren't doing what you were saying, it's because they didn't understand. Not once, you get teenagers, you expect some defiance, or you expect parents, even in my other soccer teams that, why isn't my daughter getting extra minutes? And never heard a peep from the special needs parents except to say thank you. So it's an amazing group of people. I want to give you a little bit of insight into what goes on, because it's something that as a town, we can feel very proud of, but at the end of the day, it's just what we should do. Because this group you're going to learn about are just Milford kids being kids. So why don't we start with introductions?
I'm Jennifer Walsh. I'm the coordinator of the Milford Special Olympic programs.
Hi, I'm Joe Zenas. I am a parent, I'm a coach, and a big supporter of Special Olympics in the Milford area.
A founder of a support group. I mean, we can spend the next 56 minutes going through everything that Joe and Jen have done.
Yeah, it's been for me 20 years. I mean, I moved back to Massachusetts after a hiatus in New Jersey, and for the 20 years I've been in this area, I met Jen when my son went to Milford High School, and I've been with her ever since, doing a lot of these programs.
Well, I haven't been involved that long. I just remember getting coerced, conned, scared to death when I got this call from Miss Walsh saying they wanted to start special needs soccer, and they only had one day to get a coach to sign up or the kids couldn't play. Did I know anybody? And I was already coaching two teams, and what are you going to say?
Exactly, no pressure. I can remember when we first started, the first thing we did was basketball, and we were at the elementary school, the Memorial School, and I think we had 6 kids. And these kids couldn't even lift the basketball up over their shoulders. And today, we have 5 teams. And we have, in basketball, we have like 80 athletes playing in it. So it's come a long way, and it's evolved a lot more from just basketball. I mean, how many sports do we do? A lot. It keeps my son busy the whole year, believe me.
Well, I was amazed because when I got home and told my daughter that Jen had called, she goes, well, I kind of know.
Yeah.
I said, excuse me? She said, well, Jen came to me and said, how do I get your father to coach a soccer team? And like she said, just call him and tell him if he doesn't sign up right now, the kids can't play. Yeah. It worked.
That's what she did. She put me up to it, totally. But I did go to her and say, I need a soccer coach and I need one quick. She said, call my dad. I said, okay.
Now, when we look at special needs, Special Olympics, a lot of times people just don't understand. Explain to us how it all fits together in Milford.
So our Special Olympics in Milford has evolved a ton. And we not only have a community program through community use, but we now have Special Olympics in our schools. So the importance of, the reason I'm so passionate about Special Olympics is the difference I see that it makes in the lives of the kids and the families. And the self-confidence, the independent skills, the social skills, the opportunities that come to our athletes to travel, stay in hotels, go to national and world games, opportunities that they would never have if we weren't involved in the Special Olympic program. So I just see the difference it makes in their lives, and it becomes like a support group for our parents too. So when they're at the practices and at the games, they're talking to other parents. They're not alone. They get ideas. They collaborate and just have a really good camaraderie.
No more special, no less special, because when I think of the other teams I had, you know, the typical kids, it was nice to get together and find out that
Yeah.
your son isn't the only one that acts this way.
Right.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Or your daughter isn't the only one having estrogen wars with your darling bride.
Right. I think the big thing about Special Olympics for the athletes, in most cases, that's their only socialization. So it gets them out there with their peers and with their friends. And they'll go to practice at times and they won't have a clue what they're doing, but their friends are there and they really enjoy that. So that's very much a big part of it. Some of the, Jen mentioned some of the World Games and other games. I mean, my basketball team, and I've been coaching it for the 20 years, had an opportunity a few years ago to play at halftime at the Celtics game.
I was there taking pictures.
And
Yes.
it was phenomenal in that I remember Jen calling me and saying, Joe, team's been selected to go to the Boston Garden, play at halftime. Are you interested? And how's that going to work out? And I said, okay, what's the details? And she said, well, it's a 7-minute game, no timeouts, and it's 7 minutes. And I'm like, wow, we have to get all the athletes together, put them in a bus, bring them there. And it was one of the best experiences of my life. It was just absolutely phenomenal. I mean, not only the athletes who sat on the floor initially and saw the athletes practice, the professionals, but then to sit up in the stands and then come down, play that game, go up. The stands stood up, a round of applause like you'd never seen before, and it was just phenomenal. And it was just a great experience.
I think the best part is, and especially like on a night like that, was usually no one really pays attention at halftime. Well, people were paying attention. Well, you were there. They were paying attention. They were cheering. And I think that the wonderful thing about it is it's showing people what our students with intellectual disabilities are capable of, and how. I mean, we had one that he sunk three-point shots. I mean, that doesn't happen.
Right.
3 NBA three-point shots.
No.
So it's nice to people otherwise wouldn't get exposure, were exposed to that.
How does Milford fare as far as programs and how we take care of special needs kids?
I think Milford's awesome. That's why I'm so passionate about, my job is in special ed also, but I think Milford's awesome. And when you talk to people from other towns and our Special Olympic program is one of the top in the state. And I think, but I also work for the system, that the school system's amazing. When I talk to other educators and other administrators in other towns, Milford does a great job. We take care of our kids, and that makes me very proud to be a part of it.
Because that's always a question. Are we doing enough? Are we doing too much?
I can just add to that. There was the program that was developed, the organization, 13, 14 years ago now, the Friends of Milford Area Special Athletes. That was put together to help support the Special Olympic efforts of the athletes. Not only the athletes, but the volunteers. There's, as you can imagine, a host of volunteers that have to help. And Jen has a great opportunity within the school system to kind of keep fueling the fire. And so that was developed really to reward them through scholarships, and when they went on to second and third education levels. But we also wanted the athletes to look good. So we would subsidize things. They have the best basketball uniforms. They have the best soccer uniforms. I mean, we dress them. They look good. We figure, hey, they may not play well, but they're going to really look well. And it really has worked out.
And they play really good now.
And they did.
We have come a long way.
Yeah, I think the uniforms
It's amazing because, obviously I see a lot of the teams because I keep looking on my calendar and my daughter keeps writing in pictures
Oh, yeah.
here. And she's great because she'll look and say, well, Dad, if you can't make it, it's okay. It's only the kids. They can live without pictures.
I know.
You're right. And, your heartstrings, it's not like she's tugging on them, she's wailing on them.
Exactly.
But you get to see the parents, the kids, and just the joy they have. And when you say they're not playing well, even some of the basketball players that, oh God,
They
from
play.
a technical point of view, no. But you're cheering so much because you can see the joy when they bring the ball the whole way down the court.
And that's the thing, it's about learning skills too, because I can think of an athlete that we all know and love who just got his first basket last year. The game was over. We had another athlete, he got his first basket and he bowed, remember?
Exactly.
He took a bow, he forgot the game was still going, he was so happy. For us, that's what it's about. They
But that's
they
what I
would
mean
never
by
have had that
playing well.
opportunity, yeah.
Technically, they may not be the best dribblers, best shooters, whatever. But when you see the effect on them,
Exactly.
boy, they played well.
We have, so like I was saying, the programs have evolved, and so now it's in the schools. We have we have three actually now, we just added a third, 3 unified sports that at Milford High School, so it's kids with and without disabilities playing together on the same team, and we play other high schools, and it's MIAA sponsored. They're involved, they're on it, and our track, this is our 6th year with track, and it's only our 2nd year of basketball, and we just started bocce, indoor bocce this year. But we have a state tournament. We have, there's qualifiers for the state tournament, and it's all run by the MIAA and the high school athletic departments.
Now, unified means something to us. But there may be 6 loyal viewers who don't know what the special needs program is. What is unified and why?
So unified sports is it's athletes with and without disabilities playing together on the same team. So and they play other schools of the same kids with and without disabilities, and it's a wonderful program. It's exposure, it's inclusion. It's so that our kids can have a high school sport after school like everybody else, because a lot of our community programs are at night. And they ride the bus. They get a letter, a varsity letter, and they have the opportunity to be just like their peers.
Well, I mean,
But there's a lot of wonderful kids that come out to play on these teams with our Special Olympic athletes.
and the unified program puts a typical kid with a special needs kid, and the idea is, well, actually, they both benefit.
Yeah.
Oh,
they
absolutely.
both
It's a
benefit.
huge training process. I mean, the athlete teaches, and the special athlete playing any sport learns by seeing what others do, because they can't comprehend the fact that you say, okay, you got to go to the baseline now and go. They don't understand that, but they can watch somebody, and if you're playing on the same court with other athletes, it's phenomenal. It's a
Well,
great
it should be
learning process.
interesting because son-in-law Chris, at the holiday dinner table, we inherited a new son, Chris. And inherited son played a little bit of basketball. He was on the Holy Cross team that went to the NCAA. So son-in-law immediately says, we could use somebody on the unified team to help. So Chris, of course, Chris, the inherited son, is like, yeah, but I mean, he's a little nervous. He's a Division I player.
Yeah.
He says, well, I'll help, but he's like, no, you don't have to go to the hoop. Just serve to help the kids and teach them.
Yeah, teach them, play on them, and and there's all different levels of unified too. There's unified competitive where he would, Division I player, but he would be considered just like everybody else, and you'd play. Then there's player development unified, where the unified partners hold back a little. They're not allowed to shoot. It's more about teaching the other kids how to play and being there to support them on the
Now,
court.
when you think you're a parent of a special needs child,
Yep.
and you're a participant in Special Olympics, those are 2 separate organizations
Absolutely.
that we view as the kingdom of Jen Walsh. It all seems to come under one group, but they really are separate.
They certainly are. Parent group is phenomenal. We're very much supportive of everything we do. But I coach basketball, for instance, but I have a hat that says I go and I volunteer for track and fields, or I'll help do some things with, soccer.
But you also have the same, you're involved in the special needs or special education, if you could call it that. Teachers in special ed are also involved in Special Olympics, but they really are totally
separate.
separate.
Yep.
So one could
Yes,
be
they are.
involved, I don't know how you do it, because the minute you get involved with these kids, you want to be in both sides.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
But-
believe me, I know. And you can't stop.
But a parent could send a child to special education and not be in Special Olympics.
Oh, yeah.
Correct.
It's their choice, but my goal and the goal of all the volunteers is to give our students and our adults equal opportunity. Not everybody wants to play a sport, but if you want to, we have it. And we find a lot of times they're like, well, we're not sure. I said, just come and watch. Come and check it out. And then the next thing you know, because they think they have to be a star athlete, and we have all different levels of teams. Like in basketball, we have 5 different teams from all different levels and age groups. We have a very competitive team, but we also have an 8 to 15-year-old team that's player development.
And you
I
see it.
see the kids blossom.
Absolutely, and that's what it happens. Whether they're the low-functioning player, they do blossom through this, and it's an opportunity, as Jen says. And they get out there and they do there, and they see it, and they go, you know what? I can do this too, and it just builds them up
I
so much.
remember swimming. There was a young fellow, and I won't mention his name, but he was very reticent to get in the water. A month and a half later,
Couldn't get
he said, bye, Mom, and grabbed Lexi, and he's going to the pool.
And that's what you mean about the independent skill. Look at that right there. He was afraid, he was anxious, he was nervous. And then after a while, it's like second nature. It's a great place for him to be. His friends are there. He's made friends that enjoy swimming
But
too.
you could just see there, okay, there's a self-confidence.
That's exactly
That
it.
now, if he just takes a bit of that self-confidence
And applies,
and applies it to other things, I mean, it's hard enough when you figure you're going through school and all of the changes that you go through and the people that you see. If you also have a special need, that's just going to compound the anxiety.
Or we have an athlete that's been battling cancer for a long time, but he doesn't miss a practice or an event because, and he goes out there and he never complains. He never says he's in pain. This is what Special Olympics is for him. He loves it.
But even your teachers, your staff.
Yeah.
I happen to be involved with one. And it's funny because at my age, my daughter still invites me to go to the movies. I'm going, regardless if the movie is anything I'd want to see or not.
Yeah.
I'm with my daughter. That's all that matters.
That's right.
But every so often, she has one of the kids involved in your programs.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, it was nice. She goes, he was at home all alone. He was depressed. But you sit there and say, wow, what a great environment.
And
That the staff,
you become a part of their family too. I mean, I just had a 30th birthday party for one of my athletes, and and then he's calling me up, can we go out to dinner? And then you get calls, hey, do you want to do this with me? They become your family.
so now if I'm a special need parent, I'm coming to Milford or the Milford area because you can school choice them in.
Yeah.
I go to you as special ed person, and I say, what programs are available in Milford? Not Special Olympics, but on the education side. What would you tell me?
On the education side, I would tell you, depending on the age of the student, but I mean, I work in the high school, I would tell you about the outstanding pre-voc program that your daughter and another teacher run. I would tell you about the voc program that we have with Mr. Goucher that's for 18 to 22 and is all on-the-job training and things. I would tell you about the transition program that we have at the hospital, Project Search for the last year of students in school. And then if you were younger, I would tell you about all the wonderful other the milestones programs that we have and the therapeutic classrooms that we have and all the wonderful different opportunities we have for our students.
My daughter put it into perspective once when we were sitting around and said, Dad, my job is to get the kids to their potential.
Right.
She says, not all my kids have the same potential.
And our job is to have high expectations for all our students, and that's what our coaches do for our athletes. We have the high expectations, and they always seem to reach it. If you so then that's the reason that we coach and we lead like that, because if we have high expectations, they have high expectations, and what's better than that than watching them
And
achieve?
if
it's
you
all
set
about
up the
expectation.
nurturing environment, the teaching environment, you give them the right tools, so they have all the tools they need to succeed. And the environment is set up, obviously, because people are so passionate, and it
Yeah.
starts with you.
The volunteers are awesome. The volunteers, the coaches, the families that help. it's a community thing. It's not one person. It's
Well,
like
absolutely.
30 or 40.
Well, it is a
It's a
community
whole
because-
bunch of us.
Chris came, I think it was last year, and he said he was having a real hard time getting time to practice basketball.
Yeah, no big.
There were no courts.
I
He
know.
couldn't get it at a time that the kids could come. I called Bobby Littleton.
Yeah, he's
down at
wonderful
the
to
Evergreen
us.
Center. And there was no hesitation.
Right.
He says, well, I don't have a full court, but I have a court. It's like, yeah. He goes,
Miss-
come on down.
Oh yeah, they're wonderful to us at the Evergreen Center. They have, I don't even want to say it on TV, but they have a turf field in the back that they let us use for football
Well, that
and
was-
soccer, and
All of a
that's
sudden,
like a
one day I
hidden
had to go
jewel.
pick up my daughter, and she's on the soccer field.
Yeah.
So immediately she found out there was a field back there.
Yeah.
And she put the arm on him. But again, what more could you ask? He's not getting anything out of
No.
this financially.
He's wonderful to us.
You know, if anything, it's costing him money because no matter how good the kids are, you got to clean, you got to have
Lights.
lights.
Yeah,
you got-
that's
Lights
the cost
outside.
of that.
But
And
yet-
his students all participate in our programs too, so that's a great thing.
but there was no hesitation.
No,
Oh,
When we called
absolutely.
him and said, we have Milford kids
Yeah.
that need help. Now, I coached with them for half a dozen or 8, 9 years, so I know the man. And I know what he's made out of. But
yeah, he's very good to us.
he was just your typical Milford parent that said, sure, if I can help kids, let me jump in.
Right. Well, you know, as you mentioned, the community really is behind. And, you know, when you do breakout, Special Olympics is one thing and education program the other. You know, recently, I just retired a few months ago, and I actually now working as a teacher's assistant in the vocational program up at the high school. So I have the same athletes that I've had for basketball over the years,
Now he's-
and then I've gone and I've volunteered at track and field. They're in the class, and so they know me. And with that, I mean, I've set some expectations for them, and they will achieve that expectation.
Well, again, they're used to you. There's
They're
a
comfortable.
commonality. They're comfortable. I mean, that's got to just carry
Oh yeah,
through.
yeah.
Because I see with Lexi where she's
And-
got a lot of the kids during the day.
Exactly.
Then you go to the Special Olympics side, you know, turn the hat, Special Olympics. Well, they're not anxious about their coach. They know how mean she is. You
Right,
know?
but it
But
shows you
coach-
how much involved Jen and others, and Lexi and all, are part of their lives. They're a big part of it.
And you think about it, teaching and coaching, they have a lot in common.
Sure do.
You know,
So now we got a program when you say, again, shifting to education
Yeah.
first. We have a pre-voc program. What's a pre-voc?
so pre-voc is a first. So our goal is that when our kids leave, that they're ready to be contributors to the community, to have jobs, volunteer, whatever their goal is. So our goal is to help them reach their goals in life. So the pre-voc starts with teaching them life skills, social skills, academics still, but functional academics that they're going to use in life.
Yeah, you're not going to throw advanced organic chemistry
No,
at a
you're
middle
gonna,
schooler.
You're going to teach how to budget, checkbooks, and depending on the student and their level, you know, that depends on what you're teaching them at the time. Which it's a wonderful program. It's a great class. It's a lot on the teacher because you've got a bunch of different levels, and you want every kid to achieve the most that they can. And then, so when they finish in the pre-voc, learning the life skills, the home skills, hygiene, all that, then they go to the voc program, 18 to 22, where they are just going to be immersed in job sites and learning all about how to get a job, interview skills, job applications, career interest inventories, and then go out to job sites and find out what they really like. Because, you know, you could have your goal could be, I want to be a cook, and you go and you do it for a month and you're like, well, I didn't know I had to do this, this, and this. I don't really like it.
And
So,
that's not special needs because I thought I wanted to be a bench chemist
Yeah.
till I got out there for 6 months and said, I don't want to do this.
yeah.
Exactly.
But our students are with us till they're 22, so the more exposure we can give them and help them along that road, and even maybe some of them secure a job before they leave. Others go to Project Search and they help them secure a job before they leave.
That's got to be more important for the special needs population because 22, well, I mean, you think most kids would go out on their own. I think with the millennials, it's 32, 33 before they're out on their, but
Yeah.
at 23 or so, you know, we're not getting any younger. So eventually, they have to be on their own, right?
Exactly.
So, whether you want to help or not, your ability to help is going to diminish as their needs get larger. So just teaching them, like you say, budget. Maybe you can teach my daughters. Maybe enroll them in that course called budgeting.
Budgeting.
But, just the normal day-to-day responsibilities.
Exactly. I mean, that's what we're working on now with the group of the students in our class is about budgeting. I mean, very, low grade kind of thing, but budgeting nonetheless.
Teaching them on the computer so that that's something, a skill that will transfer with them when they go.
Well, I remember when I was in the hospital, some meeting we had there, I saw the kids collecting perfusion pumps. And apparently there's a program where they run around, they collect them, they clean them.
So the Project Search program, some of our students choose to go there. The goal is after a year in Project Search to graduate with employment, not necessarily at the hospital. The hospital is where we give them the skills. It could be outside of the hospital or whatever their goal is. But so they're in a classroom for an hour a day learning the skills that they need to apply when they go to their job sites from 9 to 2 every day in the hospital. Every 10 weeks they rotate their job sites depending on the department.
I've seen kids at Shaw's and all over the place.
Yeah, well we do, that's part of the Pre-Voc and Voc program. And then Project Search is just based at the hospital. But we have had about a 95% success rate at Project Search with kids being placed. Sometimes they're placed and then they don't like the job and things like that, but majority of the time it works out. Yeah, it works out.
In that regard, they're just normal. You find out that, I really don't like this.
And the other wonderful thing that has become a big part of our Pre-Voc and Voc program is the transportation in town. We're able to give our kids travel training on the bus system that wasn't available to our students, and we have students that are taking it to school, to jobs, and to things like that where they had to depend on their parents before to get a ride.
So the kids really using the bus system?
Kids are really using the bus system.
See, because that's going to be important as a town. Because I remember when it was pitched to us.
Yeah.
Now, just from a finance committee, it was all this great stuff.
Yeah.
And we're going to have metrics. And I remember I went on record saying, I know of 3 metrics that matter. Ridership, ridership, ridership. But that's not really true. Because for you or I, whether you take a bus or not means something. But for somebody who can't drive.
Or can't get to a doctor's appointment, can't get
Well, I mean,
to
they don't have a car. Either they can't afford it,
Yeah.
they don't have the skills to drive it,
Right.
whatever the reason.
Right.
That, to me, weighs a lot heavier on our decision to fund it, or it should.
Yeah.
Because if we can take care of kids who wouldn't be able to go to the hospital, wouldn't be able to get around.
And we have, and a lot of our students, the majority of our students in the Pre-Voc and Voc do not drive. It's rare that someone does drive. So the fact that they have a bus to get to where they, and then that helps us find them a job that they otherwise couldn't get to if they didn't have transportation.
Well, I mean, people are going to ask, can you get to work?
Right, exactly.
Well, if my mother's around
Or trying to find a job close enough within walking distance can be a challenge too, because depending on where the student lives.
But that's important, for the FinCom and everybody to understand that it may not be big numbers, but it's big impact.
It's big
Absolutely.
impact, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
That's
and
exactly it.
That will weigh heavily on, I know the FinCom people. When it comes down to taking care of our kids, we had all these discussions at town meeting about the immigrant kids and all, and I remember laughing saying, wait a minute, I'm from Milford. No Milford population that I know of has ever needed Beacon Hill or Washington to tell them how to take care of our kids. The people in Milford always find
Yes,
the
they do.
right thing to do to make sure our kids are taken care of.
Yes, they do.
But they got to know. So, if we can let people know that it may not be big numbers, but it's big impact,
It's big impact.
Yep.
that can make a big difference.
Exactly.
So now, how many kids are in the special education program in Milford?
Oh
Round
my
numbers.
goodness, I want to say like 750.
Sounds right, because we've heard 19, 20%.
Yep,
So how many are in Special Olympics?
300.
So 50%.
Because we do a school day games, which brings a lot of them out.
But that's amazing.
Right. So we're trying to start young, which is why we started the school day games and Young Athletes Day, to get the interest, because usually we don't get the kids till middle school. So we wanted to do this so that people are aware what Special Olympics is and what's out there for their kids. So we do a big games every year, and it's unified. Everybody has a unified partner at it, and we do it in the spring during Healthy Kids Week, and it's really drummed up interest.
But I'm just amazed. 50% of the population is involved in the Special Olympics program of Milford. That's really fantastic numbers.
Yeah, it's
Yep,
good.
It's grown from
It's
6.
300, yeah.
From
Yeah.
So now,
And that's the thing, they're not involved, they may not be involved year-round, they may be involved in one sport, because we have 13 different sports.
that's what I was going to ask. So now we talk about basketball and football and soccer, swimming, because those are the ones that my family's involved in. But
Bowling,
there's
cycling, bocce, softball, cheerleading. What else do we have?
Well, we had golf.
Golf, we had golf for a little bit. If we had a coach, we'd do golf again.
Right.
So we have a lot going on. And then each sport has, a lot of the sports have 3 or 4 teams.
yes, I know,
basketball's
trying to take
exceptional.
pictures running between court to court
Yeah,
to court.
yes.
But that's great because you have 13 sports, multiple teams. Certainly there's a place for everybody that wants to compete in some way or shape.
We haven't had a cut or any team yet.
I won't cut. I refuse to cut. I just start another team.
Yep, you
I
show up and
refuse.
you want to play,
Yeah.
you're playing.
I
Which is
don't
great.
turn anybody away that wants to come and participate in our programs.
How do you fund it?
Fundraising, all fundraising. So between doing our road race every year, and then the FAMASA, the Friends of Milford Area Special Athletes, they do a lot of the funding for us because our programs have grown so much that we needed help with transportation and uniforms, and we just couldn't have done it without the Friends of Milford Area Special Athletes, which is a huge active group of parents that fundraises with the annual banquet.
But
And
some of the families have double whammies where they have children who are ability challenged in some way. Every way but love, because it seems like they got the biggest hearts of anybody. But they're also funding challenged.
right.
So how do
We-
you deal
we-
with the parent who
We don't
can't afford?
So we don't charge for Special Olympics any longer. We haven't charged in over a year
So
because the majority.
money really, sorry, but money has nothing to do with Special Olympics from a participant point
No.
of view.
Exactly.
No.
I don't have to afford $1 or
No.
$1 million. If I want to play golf or bocce or soccer or football, I just show up and I play.
It's fully funded. You just have to sign up.
Right.
And
And-
fill out a medical form because we have to have a medical
Right.
form. But
And that's been true for the last year, say.
Yeah.
However, even prior to that, if there was a
someone had a
family that
problem.
couldn't,
Well, you never turn anybody away.
exactly.
Yeah, we just would fund
I
them.
can't see
Exactly.
somebody saying, I can't afford the $25 and Jen saying, sorry, hit the road.
Right. Well, you know what? If that was the case, I give them the 25.
Right.
It's just like, yeah.
Well, I mean, I see more and more because this year, for the first time, we had the youth center say that they're going to step up because they realize that your basketball program is broke.
right.
You don't charge anybody.
No.
You got to beg for money. So they told us that they were going to find some hours. I mean, we did put $5 million in his residence, so sneaking a couple hours here, there
And
isn't.
Milford Community Use is good to us. The youth center has just, like you said, stepped up for us. It's a community helping the kids.
So if I'm a parent, how do I learn about all this stuff?
Well, we try, like I said, we're trying to get it out in the schools. We do shows like yours and come on and let people know what we do. We have a website. We're just constantly trying to promote the programs and word of mouth.
But people would call in and ask for community use to
They-
learn?
Yes, well, they'd call and ask for me. And and on the website, it has my email, phone, and everything.
I mean, that's the first step when people show up. I'll ask you a question that has been thrown around, and my opinion I'm going to hold. When people say, well, it's because of these programs that we attract more kids to Milford who need special attention. What do you answer to that?
Good for Milford. We're doing what we're supposed to do. But I feel like, I say good for Milford, kudos to Milford if that's what it is, but that's not it. I mean, people do come for the Special Olympics from other towns, but like the school, you have to live in Milford to get.
But I mean, realistically, most of the attention.
I think special education enrollment is increasing all over the state.
Well, but Jen, when we say special needs, I've always asked a question of the superintendent, are you taking care of all my special needs kids?
Yeah,
Not
because-
just the kids who need, because that's, the publicity goes to the kids that we're talking about,
Right.
who need a little help to get to the mean.
Right.
But we also have the top 10%, our next Nobel laureates, they're special needs.
Well, my theory is every child has a special need. That's my theory. So whatever we can do for all children is beneficial.
And we're not doing anything special that, candidly, people didn't do for us.
Right, exactly.
When we were kids, somebody, Uncle Paul Raftery, the principal, took care of me and got me on a better path. And you go through and you say, I needed a kick.
Yeah.
That was a special need. He found it.
Yep.
He drove across town every day to pick me up because he lived on North Bow. He would come to Mystic Lane, pick me up, and drive me to school. He said, now I know you're coming on time. And that's the kind of passion.
And that's what's awesome about the special ed in Milford, because where there's a need, it's addressed and another program is started. Like the Pathways for the alternative classroom that goes on, the Transitions program
Okay,
for kids with
Pathways,
mental.
what is that?
It's a program at the high school for kids that are struggling in life, and it's getting in the way of them achieving their high school diploma. So they have extra help, extra services, extra counseling, extra support in the classroom to get them through and get them their high school diploma.
And the other program you mentioned?
It's a transitions program. It's for students that come back having mental health challenges, maybe hospitalized, maybe have not been in school for a month, and they need to come back to school and get going again. So it's a transition program that helps them. So they'll come back to this program. Maybe they'll just go out to class an hour a day and then back in the program with counseling and therapeutic help, and then 2 hours a day, and then 3, until they can get back into a full day of school.
Now, we seem to have, we remember the artistic program. We made a conscious investment many years ago to keep kids in Milford. I mean, part of it, let's face it, you rationalize it by saying, if I outplace them, it costs me a lot of money. But a few people I know voted for it because it just felt right. They're Milford kids. If we can keep them in Milford, how well do we do at keeping Milford kids in Milford?
I think we do an awesome job at it, and that's well, it's needed. The kids are to go out, to drive an hour to an outplacement or things like that, they don't have the support they need when they come back home. If everything is done in their community and their services are here and their friends are here and their support is here, they're more successful. I find when kids go an hour or 45 minutes away to school, then they come home, they don't have any friends.
Well, it's just
All
more
their
normal, too, because
Right.
a typical kid is at Milford High, then they go and meet up with another group of kids from Milford High or the same for sports. And then on weekends, they go and hang out with kids from Milford High. I mean, it's got to be a lot harder if you're driving an hour or two
It's
to
hard.
a
Yeah.
whole separate area,
Yeah.
and you really don't get to know everybody.
So the more that we can offer in town for our students, the better it is all around for them, their families, to have the support in their own community. And I think it's been very successful with keeping kids and offering them what they need in the community.
I got in trouble when at one of the town meetings, somebody came up and said, you're putting all this money into special needs and it's helping kids from out of Milford. What would you say? Because I know my answer was not popular.
And you're talking education, or you're
Education.
talking? Oh, education.
Well, Special Olympics, you're funding.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
nobody can gripe
Right.
that if there was
We
only
fundraise
one
for
Milford
it.
kid,
Yeah,
it's not costing anybody anything.
right.
But the special education,
I mean, I don't know the numbers of kids that are coming in from, but I know that this year school choice was closed at the high school because we have to take care of our own. We're maxed out.
yes.
So I don't know the numbers as far as who's coming in from.
You know, I got in trouble when I said, if the worst thing that happens is we take care of our own
Yeah.
kids, we happen to help other kids of need.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
I don't find that a horrible thing.
No, I don't either.
And I'm happy when the day comes to be judged that, I'm sorry, Joe, you helped some kids who weren't from Milford
Right.
while you were helping Milford kids.
Hey,
And you can't, how do you turn that off? If you're in the field of working with children and helping them succeed, why does it matter where they live?
I mean, that's the point. I mean, if you were shortchanging Milford kids, I could see the point.
Yeah.
I'm paying my taxes. I got to take care of my family first. But I haven't heard word one that you're taking away from Milford kids because 2 or 3 are a handful of kids from
Right.
other towns.
And I don't know the numbers because that doesn't matter to me where the kid's from. What matters to me is that a kid's succeeding in school and that we do whatever we can to help them do that.
But again, we're taking care of Milford kids.
Yep.
We're not taking away from Milford kids.
No.
Because it is Milford taxpayer money doing it. And if we help some kids from neighboring towns, it just doesn't seem like
That's not a bad thing.
no, I would agree. I mean, my son happened to go to Milford High School, and we live in Hopedale, and we lived there for 20 years, and it was a great place for him to go to school. And all of his friends are from that area. His whole friendship group is all based out of Milford. We do more things in Milford than we do in Hopedale.
I mean,
Nothing against Hopedale.
well, no, but I mean, the
No, but-
dances, I'm sorry, without that special little person and his guitar, it wouldn't seem
It
like,
wouldn't be a dance.
there wouldn't be a dance if Mark's not there playing
20
his-
years of Mark with his sunglasses and his guitar. It has to
Right.
keep going.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What made you come to Milford? You're from a different town?
Yeah, I was born and raised in the city of Boston, and I migrated as most people from Boston. They go from, Roxbury, Mission Hill area, went to Jamaica Plain to Roslindale, West Roxbury. That's the normal migration. But anyway, through work, I ended up in New Jersey, and
So you annoyed somebody and they shipped you to New
yeah,
Jersey?
they said you got promotion. Oh, great. Well, the bad part is it's New Jersey. I'm like, oh, great. But actually, it was down near Philadelphia. It was a beautiful part of. It was the garden part of the Garden State. And so we were there for a couple of years, and we wanted to move back up. We had an opportunity to move back up, and my wife has one sister that lived in Medway, and one lived in Ashland. So she said, "Can we move up into that area?" And I said, "Sure." And let's look up there. And as it turned out, we ended up in Hopedale. And for a number of reasons, but never heard of Hopedale actually when we moved there. But and ironically, both of her sisters had moved away after we moved.
When Mark went to school, though, it was a certain age that Hopedale didn't have a program anymore.
Right,
for him.
right. They didn't have the program available to help him, so he had to go out of.
And
What
that-
other towns do? Well, how did you come to pick the Milford program?
Well, it was something that was offered to us. It was close by, and that's when we met Jen and we met the whole program.
Did you check it out ahead of time?
Well, we knew that Hopedale couldn't handle it, and we looked at Milford, and they looked at the program they were offering and said, yeah. I mean, other than that, we would have been looking at putting him in a taxi cab or a bus and sending him to wherever in the state of Massachusetts, whether it was back into Boston or north of Boston, whatever.
And again, you can do that for the educational part. Because there are kids with very special requirements that we just cannot support here. But I've seen them put in a taxi cab for an hour and a half each way.
Oh, yeah.
But you can't do that for the social stuff.
No, you can't, and that's the thing.
No, and that's it. I mean, these kids, what you're looking for is for them to have purpose in life, and a big part of it is socialization for that. And Special Olympics offers that to them. But the camaraderie in the classroom Same thing. It's the socialization. It's the dances they go to. It's the unified basketball program they play in. It's all of that, and it just keep growing and growing.
Well, I mean, you know, we go to the best buddies, and it's the same faces, more, but it's the same faces that I see on the soccer field, on the football field, and it's the same faces if I stop into the classroom that you see in the bistro and everywhere else. So that whole holistic approach, I mean, I hate to say it, but again, it is the same as any other typical kid.
That's what I'm saying. It's the same, and that's the goal that we wanted to achieve, is to give them the opportunity to experience everything else that all their peers are experiencing.
And they do
so when they're not going home after school with nothing to do, or after work with nothing to do.
And they do have a bond with their best buddy. I mean, if you're in school and you're working in the school store, the high fives that fly by back and forth with all these kids, it's unbelievable. And they know everybody. They know everybody. It's amazing.
And the best part is when you go in the lunchroom and you can't find your students because
Exactly.
they're all over the place.
Because they're all mixed.
Yeah, they're no
Exactly.
longer sitting at one table by themselves. They're all over mixed in.
They're all with others.
But again, that comes with that self-confidence, that comfort.
Exactly.
Exposure. Because, you know, a lot of our volunteers are like, oh, I don't know if I can do it. And then once they do it, it's, you know,
Jen,
it
when you
is
first asked me,
life-changing.
I was scared to death.
Yeah. And that's because you just hadn't done it.
It's
It's new.
I think the scary part is, am I going to let these kids down? I know how to deal with. Since 6 years old, I've been dealing with girls soccer. Not a problem. But never special needs soccer. And I was scared to death.
You did a great job, though.
But you know, you walk in saying, I don't want to let them down.
Yeah.
Will I do something that hurts them or doesn't put, and then you find out, I hate to say it, but a hug and a smile worked as well in both sides.
And I was kind of on the opposite side because everything I've done was always competitive. And it was like, we're going to win. And guess what? That wasn't the goal. The goal here for them was to have fun and to learn. It wasn't a win. So I'm like, we were on the same page. And I finally learned real quick that it's not about winning.
It's about winning a different way, a different
It's
thing.
about winning in life.
I mean, when I saw one of my soccer players turn around, dribble through the defense, shoot and score, and it's like, next time on their goal. But he was so proud.
Yep. And
that he had such a good kick, and you got the high fives, and his teammates ran out, and this is what this is about. And then, just as important, you looked over to the parents, and you could see they have a moment that they're excited.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and when I think of especially some of the single parents on my typical team, I don't know how the single, mostly mothers, I hate to be sexist, but I had 3 single mothers, and they barely could keep up. And that was with typical kids. When I see single parents of special needs kids, I'm thoroughly amazed. You know, so if we can bring a little bit of happiness and joy into their lives while helping their children develop new skills.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, as a parent, I mean, you watch your child compete, and, you know, like Mark is not the fastest of foot, and actually he's getting very old now. But the nice thing about Special Olympics is they division them correctly, and they put them in the right race. And to see him compete on that level and actually win a race, it's phenomenal. And I know that, you know, my wife is crazy about Mark with him competing in Special Olympics and winning. And you know, it makes you very proud.
And you can see medals, you know, at the Special Olympics, the gold, the silver. Oh yeah, those kids know exactly.
Oh yeah, they don't like those ribbons too much. They want those.
Well, you know, I'll tell you a funny story about a ribbon. We were playing in a qualifier for basketball, and we were out in Greenfield. So it took us a few hours to get there, number one. And when we got there, our team was divisioned in the wrong division. So we were playing a very high-level team. They, you know, their point guard would be standing top of the key and would do bounce passes to the guys doing layups. And our guys are standing there like, you know,
what was that?
Right. We couldn't, they put a press on us. We couldn't even get the ball out of bounds. It was like ridiculous. So I went over to the other coach and I said, hey, You have nothing to worry about. Can you please let my guys try to dribble the ball past half court? And as it turned out, we come in last. I mean, we were like the worst team. So the awards ceremony, and you do get a participant ribbon.
You get a
for
ribbon.
doing it. So one of our athletes, he gets in line, and we get the ribbon, and he looks at it, and he goes, wow, another ribbon. And I just broke out laughing because it was so special to say another ribbon. But, you're right. They want a medal. They don't care what color it is,
Yeah.
as long as it's a medal.
They can stand up there and hold their medal. They're happy.
Exactly.
Of course, in Greenfield, what was the place we used to go that I always found it amazing? The Dummer Academy for soccer.
Oh, Governor Dumner
Doesn't
Academy.
Governor
Byfield, Mass.
Byfield. We drove up
They
there.
still go there for soccer. We're still
But they
there.
changed the name.
It's just called
Governor's
Governor's Academy.
Governors. Because I used to remember saying, I can't imagine as a parent that I want to send my children to the Dummer Academy to make them dumber. I mean,
Yeah.
I know it's Dummer, but it looked like dumber.
It did. And
you
everybody
had to
pronounced
drive
it
up
that way.
to Byfield.
Byfield, Mass.
I thought I needed a passport.
And it was
was a
always
ride.
cold.
Cold.
Wow.
And
it was
rainy half the
Yeah,
time.
it was cold. That's all I remember.
It happens every year because it's in November. The weather's not that great, but the kids love it. Yeah.
So now, I was always impressed that the kids get a chance to do sleepovers. Mm-hmm. Tell me about how that works.
So when we go to state tournaments, which is 3 or 4 times a year, the state tournaments are weekend tournaments. And so they put the athletes up for the weekend. So we'll have our state tournament in Boston in June for swimming and we have a powerlifting team for swimming, powerlifting, and track. The kids stay over from Friday to Sunday in the dorms. When we do basketball, we have them out in Worcester, and the kids stay in hotels during the winter. It's the highlight of the year. They cannot wait. They're already asking me, can I room with this one? Can I room with that one? Where are we going? When is it?
It's the Olympic experience.
Yeah,
of
it's this.
getting away, being housed, participating, hanging with your friends, and participating.
You're away
in
from
games.
home.
And you're away
Again,
from home.
no more special than when we did our 7th grade or 8th grade field trip. And we just thought it was great.
Nature's
to be
classroom.
Nature.
Right.
God bless Nature's Classroom. We had a long discussion about Nature's Classroom because they told us we couldn't bring electronics. And I took my suitcase packed with electronics. When they found me out, I had to cut a deal with them because I had said, okay, I already hacked into your
Internet.
internet
Yeah.
connection. I said, you want my pictures, don't you? They said, yes. I said, you leave me alone, I'll give them all to you.
There you
So they
go.
left me alone because that was an experience.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when Lexi went, she was so proud that there's no phone, no cell phones, no way of getting a hold of her. She had no idea. Emily and I would write to her every day, the Emily Chronicles. And Emily would write and tell Alexis how wonderful it was that she was away from home, that Emily could go through her stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And the kids and the teachers there told me it was a big kick to watch a courier coming up the hill every day at 5 o'clock to just deliver a letter to Alexis. But, she was away from home.
Yeah, I know. It's a big deal.
And I remember when she said, Dad, can I go by myself? I've never been on a field trip alone. I said, of course. It could break your heart, but
Yeah, no
of
kidding.
course.
Yeah.
But it was such a big deal that 7th grade, she went away. So, again, when you look at the special needs kids, you start finding they're not any more special or any less
No.
special. They're just Milford kids.
Yep.
Yep, and they hang together and they have a blast.
When you look at people who aren't involved, they want to help. How do they help?
Well, we need help in a lot of areas, right, Joe?
What's
We are starting, well, as you know, because I roped you into something else, our games management team, we're trying to get that going because the programs have grown so much, it's like a mini athletic department, and we need volunteers
Well,
in that area.
350 kids is a lot of kids.
Yeah, we need help, a lot, there's a lot of paperwork, there's a lot
Oh,
of
yeah. I mean, coaches.
our coaches all have to be certified,
Yeah,
and they all have to go to trainings, and we have to keep
But
medicals
like
all
on
the-
any coaching, people have asked me and I've said, you want to be involved with your kid? coach.
Right.
Even if you don't, well, I don't know anything about soccer. I said, be an assistant coach. You don't have to know. But I'll admit it. I became a coach because it got me 4 days a week with my kids. 2 practices, 1 game, and I took the team out every Friday or Saturday night for dinner. I got 4 nights a week with my daughter from when they were, both daughters, from when they were 6 to when they hit high school. What better could you ask?
Exactly.
So we need help coaching, we need help with volunteers to run different events that are coming up. This time of year is our really busy time of year, so we have a lot of events coming up. And then even if someone just wants to help and doesn't have a lot of time and just wants to help on the clerical end, we need help on that end too.
So I was going to say, realistically, even if I don't have any special skills, I can only help a day here, a day there.
Take the road race. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of volunteers that you need to have that event. I mean, there's a lot of paperwork, there's a lot of pre-work, there's a lot of things going on with that. So, yeah, volunteers are definitely needed.
We have a lot of opportunities to volunteer.
Yeah, and we do have a pool of individuals. It's like the same folks all the time. It's like the fundraisers, we keep going back to the same folks all the time, and you'd like to do a little bit different things with that, but volunteers.
People like Ronnie Ozier.
Oh yeah, what would we do without them?
I mean,
Go to the well.
go to
keep
the
well.
Best Buddies dance. It's not quite the same if it's not Ronnie.
If Ronnie's not there, the kids are not happy.
Exactly.
And Ronnie does his dumb chicken
And
thing.
he's been doing it for me.
I mean, it's the silliest things in the world, but again, it's just.
But see, Ron is another one that gets really involved with the kids, and the kids love him.
He's been doing it for over 20 years.
Absolutely.
Is that right?
Dances, yeah. We had our first dances at St. Mary's Church.
Yeah,
Ronnie and I and about 20 athletes, and now
So he knows what the kids like, he knows what to do, and he does a very good job with it.
And again, comfort, because it's got to be, forget the special needs, they're teenagers. Going to a dance, having that social interaction is always awkward for teenagers. But if it's the same teachers that you see during the day and it's the same DJ.
and that gives the parents comfort too.
Yeah, which is true.
You know what I mean? Because if they know and that they knew, you already know their child, because sometimes they worry, what if my child is in this situation, they don't know how to handle it, but to know that there's trusted people there that have supported their child and know it helps a lot too.
Well, we started out with a concept. There's a group of kids in Milford, no more special, no less special. They're just our kids. And what is very special that I've seen is the passion and the amount of attention and just the overall caring that a special group of volunteers put in to help a group of our kids reach their potential. If you can spare a minute, if you can spare a dime, if you can spare anything, this is a wonderful group to help. So thank you for all you do. And as always, tonight we may have more than our normal 6 viewers, because if I know anything about Special Olympics, is everybody gets together. So we may have a few more than our normal 6. So to our loyal 6 viewers and all the new ones, may God bless. May tomorrow be a more special night than tonight. Thank you.
Not too long since I've been home. Been running all my life just searching for my soul.